Hey guys, I'm here to talk about the O.P.V.L way of analyzing a source. So this is the IB history method, and should be watching this on the first day of class this week. So let's talk about why is this skill so important? And it really is because it's about being a critical consumer of information. So this is just a way of evaluating the value and the limitations of a source, and every single source of information in the world has value and limitations. So as long as you can acknowledge that and recognize it, you're going to be a better consumer of information, and you're going to honestly be better able to argue your points of view. So we're also trying to make you stronger at arguing, which is going to help you in lots of different areas of your life. All right, so let's think about, for our very first thing, we want to think about what is the source of our information, right? So if we're thinking about Germany causing World War I, and we have Wilhelm II's private diary or his public speech to Germany at the start of the war, that's a very different source of information than his memoirs written down 50 years after the war, or than the signers of the Treaty of Versailles who decided that Germany was to blame. And that's a very different source from the historians who have written umpteen books about Germany and whether they're to blame for World War I. All of these sources of information are really good and really important, and all of them have value, and all of them also have limitations. And the key thing is recognizing what the value and limitations is of each source of information. That's what we're trying to figure out with applying O.P.V.L. Okay, the first thing, the easiest thing, the starting out thing is you want to look at the origin of a source. So COP go together, content, origin, and purpose. And origin is our first thing. So we want to think about who said a thing, when did they say it, and where did they say it? Who was the audience they were saying it to, or who published it? We also want to think about what was going on in the world at the exact same time that might have been influencing the way that they were thinking. Okay, so all of that is important for the origin. And then content and purpose, this is where people get a little bit muddled, so I want to try and clarify it for you from the beginning. The content is what a person says or what a source says. But the purpose of a thing is what they're trying to get you to believe. So that's their argument or their point of view. If you haven't already started taking some notes during this video, please pause me and go back and take a couple notes, because you're going to have to be applying these skills for a long time. So I want this help to actually be helpful to you, right? But go ahead and in your notes right now, write down or record that purpose. You should try and use words or words like these, and do not use these ones. So I actually recommend that you do the same thing that I did, which is write down the words and cross them out. Because teaching somebody or informing somebody or explaining something to somebody doesn't let you know what their purpose is, what they're trying to get you to believe. Arguing, justifying, blaming, and defending, those words will usually get more at the argument or the point of view. So just try those words out and see how it goes for the next few times that you apply O.P.V.L. The next part is bias. All right, so all sources have bias. Don't just say that a source has a bias and therefore it is limited. Of course it does. Billie Eilish said it. Duh. Yes, every source is biased. It's important that we know what the bias is, and every source has value. So the firsthand knowledge of something is a valuable thing, but it doesn't mean that that's the only viewpoint. There's actually a limitation in firsthand knowledge of something, because it means that maybe you're ignoring the other perspectives outside of your own. Expertise in a topic also is great. That means that there's something valuable there. Oftentimes historians sort of dedicate their lives to studying a particular topic in history. And if they don't, then maybe a lack of expertise can be a limitation. Data to support information. So if somebody has quotes from firsthand documents, or if somebody has statistics to support their opinion, that can offer value to a source. But we live in a time period where we know that statistics can be altered. And we live in a time period where we know that quotes can be used either way. I mean, I feel like I've seen some political ads maybe once or twice recently that let me know that everything can be used as a value and can be used as a limitation of a source. All right, so value is, what does this particular source add to our knowledge about this topic? And then we want to think about, what else do we need to consider? So if every source has some value, every source has some limitations too. And do the same thing that I did here, right? Go ahead and write these down and cross them out, because you're going to want to say when IB gives you a document that it's just an excerpt, that it's not the whole book. And so therefore there's a limitation. That will always be true because they're never going to give you a whole book to analyze. So go beyond that. The point is that you want to show just how critically thoughtful you are. Don't say that something is biased, because we know we have to say what the bias is. So you could say it in the way that I have here with this stem. There's a pro or anti-blank bias. So consider this other viewpoint. You can also always know that a translation is not perfect, but that's kind of, again, duh, obvious, yes. So try and go beyond that and think about what the limitation is of a particular source. Okay, that's enough generalization. Let's apply this now. So the news over the weekend, it is very sad. We have a big loss in Chadwick Boseman passing away. And so he, the king of Wakanda, right, and Black Panther, talks in this excerpt right here about why he selected the kind of accent that he did for the king of Wakanda. So pause me and read this. And if you want to hear from him yourself, then go ahead and click on that link and watch a short video where he talks about this. And then let's look at, this is how IB will always ask this question of you. So the blue stem will always be the same, and it's just the grayed bolded part that will change. So with reference to its content, origin, and purpose, COP, right? Analyze the values and limitations of Boseman's interview for historians studying the film Black Panther. Okay, we're about to apply that. So you read his words. You try and think of a couple words per letter here for content, origin, purpose, value, and limitations. Pause me and just try it. Just bullet point it. Then I actually wrote this out in full sentences as a full example for you guys. And I highlighted it so that you would know. So know that origin is in blue here and content is in yellow here. So go ahead and read that. And then go ahead and read the purpose and note how these are different. So I gave you a longer example of how to write out a full answer. In no way do I expect that this is what you just wrote a couple minutes ago. You bulleted out some things. I was really explaining myself. This is like the maximal answer I would ever expect from people. And I would probably expect in a time environment, you would write much less than this. Okay, then value, pause me and read this. And then limitations, pause me and read this. All right, so that is one form of applying this. Hopefully you also read my example from the video last week where I applied O.P.V.L. to the headstrong historian as well. Why I'm talking about this right now is because we have a summative that you are going to have to O.P.V.L. That is the first thing you're going to be graded on in this class. So let's practice this a bit. Remember, it's due September the 13th and September the 6th. You need to fill out a form expressing interest.